listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it? What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak.
Hey, good evening, folks. This is the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. It is 3/12/2025. We are here to do Daredevil Born Again Episode 3. With us this evening, so far, the guest panel, a good friend of ours, coming back for his first appearance in quite a while, actually. Jesse Starcher. What's up, Jesse Starcher from Source Material Comics Podcast?
My goodness. Thank you very much for having me back. This is going to be a fun episode.
At W2M Network.
That's right. That's right, man.
Most definitely, sir.
I'm so glad to be back here. And actually, I'm really excited to talk about this episode. I didn't know what we were going to be getting until I watched it. So right at the end, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, Jesse, I was looking forward to hearing what your thoughts were on Daredevil, and not just, Daredevil Born Again, but just, Daredevil in general. But we'll get there in a minute. It's good to see my co-host, Cyberneticshark, is back with us once again. What a shock. He's always here, so very loyal and reliable and consistent co-host, Cyberneticshark. Good to see you, sir. Andre the Pop Culture Guy, regular guest, occasional special guest host, over here kicking it. Time Lord, Time Cop. What's up, sir?
Very good. Time Avenger in time and in the future, sir.
That's right, sir. You're an adventure of time, without question. Anyways, so we hope everyone out there is doing well. Right off the bat, I just want to say rest in peace to Kamar De Las Reyes, that played White Tiger in Daredevil Born Again, that unfortunately passed away. God bless his family. He is sort of the focus of episode 3 in a way. It's unfortunate that we experienced that loss so quickly after the show came out. But he did a great job, I thought. And I'll start off with you, Jesse, since you're coming in with us having already squashed a couple episodes of Daredevil Born Again. I'll ask you first. What'd you think of the first 2 episodes? And then I guess what is where are you at with Daredevil? Like, what does Netflix Daredevil mean to you? Like, I kind of, right, as a fan, I guess,
Sure. Yeah. Well, okay. First off, it coming back, Daredevil Born Again, I was excited. I wanted to see what they were going to do with the character. Then we get our first 5 to 10 minutes of the first episode, and boy, do we get just jolted. Everything was going so well, and then Foggy gets hit. We got Bullseye and Matt having and what a fight. I mean, just what a battle that they had. And I was like, man, this is already. I am excited. I'm psyched to see what's going on here. And you see, Daredevil make the decision to send Bullseye off that roof. He made this choice. And of course, I knew at that point we were going to have guilty Matt Murdock. He's going to feel guilty, and he's going to probably step back a little bit. And that's, that was it. That was kind of what I expected. I read, it's been a long time. I was just looking at it. I think it was back in 2018 when I read the 1986 Daredevil Born Again. And I was like, oh, okay, well, am I going to get anything like that in here? Man, I don't know. I mean, you're not. You can.
I read it.
Right.
I read it last year. Real quick, Marvel Plus or whatever, and it's not at all similar.
No. I mean, Karen Page is doing something completely different here. That's for sure in that book. I think at that point she was a porn actress, and I mean, she sold Daredevil's identity, and so there's. We're doing something way different with this, which I'm fine with. I'm not going to, scream, oh my goodness, sacrilege or anything like that. I think that's okay. So things really slowed down though. After we get our big battle there in the first episode, things really slow down. And I think at the end of the second episode, we get another flash of, okay, Matt Murdock is a lawyer, and he's, he takes out those 2 cops in the apartment building, which is, I was like, okay, here we go. So it's a mixed bag of are we going to get a lot of action? Am I expecting a lot of action, or am I going to be expecting a lot of drama? And I think when it came to Netflix's Daredevil, it felt like a lot more action so far. if I was to compare those 2 episodes to what we got in Daredevil, granted there was a good bit of drama, but I feel like, man, there were some outstanding hallway fights. I mean, it was the standard of hallway fights when you looked at Netflix's Daredevil. So I come into this with excitement. I'm not displeased with what we've got so far in the first 2 episodes. If it's a well-told story, I'll be okay with there not being as much action. But man, I want Matt Murdock to punch somebody.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that probably, if anything, at the time that Daredevil came out, whatever it was, 10 years ago or whatever, probably Daredevil Netflix was probably the top dog when it came to hand-to-hand, fighting on screen, and fight choreography or whatever.
Right.
Like that was the best you were going to find, kind of like was in Daredevil, in my opinion. I would think, top notch. But so Andres, a similar question. Where are you at so far? I know we're only 3 episodes in, but where are you at with Daredevil Born Again? And how's it lining up with the feel of the Netflix stuff?
I think this episode, let me just jump to episode 3. I like the first episodes, but I think this episode we're going to talk is more like the Daredevil show. Like, as Jesse was talking about, I'm bench watching the show for my channel for a review or something later on. And, the show had action, but it was also drama as well. And, because with the first 2 episodes, it's like they're trying to catch us up with what happened with so many years, It's not only that, the show ended, it's also we have the blip. And then we had the appearances of, Daredevil in She-Hulk, or, well, really No Way Home. And then, of course, Kingpin already has, 2 appearances in Hawkeye and Echo, which is very important for his character arc that we're seeing here. So I think this episode was so much like Daredevil. Like, okay, I'm getting the sense of the plot threads and all that. They're picking up, slowly, which is good. I do want some action, but at the same time, I think I prefer them telling a good story and not to worry about the action. Like, put the right action in the right episode, and then I think we'll be satisfied. So right now, I'm fairly enjoying it. I'm not gonna say this is, top tier Daredevil season yet, but it's almost there.
Okay, and Cyber, my friend, same set of questions to you, sir. Where you at with the connectivity? With the Netflix show, and then how are you feeling about Daredevil Born Again? In comparison.
Well, like I mentioned before, I've only seen the first season and a couple episodes of the second season. So I feel that, definitely this series is taking a little bit of a different approach than the Netflix series did, having, a little bit less action so far. But I also think that has to do with the fact that there's so much that, they're trying to alter, to change, to kind of push it towards the MCU's level versus what the Netflix original MCU series was about. So unfortunately, I think it's gonna definitely, it's going in a different direction than the Netflix show it did. But overall, I think that, it still is representing the Netflix series very well so far. We're only 3 episodes in, and that first episode, the beginning part with the action and everything, was very much Netflix Daredevil. Whereas, as we progress so far, we've had a little bit of action happen here and there since, but overall, we've had a lot more courtroom drama. So I think that's only because, because Murdock himself has stepped away from being Daredevil. We got to get to that arc of him realizing he needs to be Daredevil again. So I kind of think that's, where we're at, unfortunately, for this, is that, trying to compare the two, it's going to be a little different because Marvel 100% has the creativity now versus whereas when the Netflix series was being done, it was only a part of Marvel. So I think that, it's that different direction is going to alter and change as it goes on. But so far, I'm enjoying Board again. I have really enjoyed it. Like I said, the first episode really kind of cramped it for me. Second episode was better. And then this episode, I absolutely loved. It was fantastic. It was fun. It was a great courtroom drama, Law and Order style, like Mr. Jesse mentioned. And I loved that aspect. I wanted to see more of Murdoch being a lawyer. I did want to see some more of that because I thought that that's a very crucial evident and portion of his backstory that yes, he's a lawyer, but also at the same time, he's a vigilante. So I think that it was great to see kind of getting that a little bit in, because I feel as the series is going to go on, the next 6 episodes, I really feel we're going to get more and more action as it goes down, because he's going to start becoming Daredevil again. So it might be slow at first, but I feel by the end, a lot of us will be happy with how much action is going on. So that's where I am at with that.
Hey, Hen, how's it going, brother?
I'm sorry about that. Sorry about being late. Hello, how's everyone doing?
Hey, you're here. That's okay.
Hello.
I get your brother John is not here yet, but Hen is from.
It's gonna be me today.
Oh, it's just you. Okay, well that's fine. Just you is good enough. It's Hen, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, Hen.
Okay, Hen is from It's What We Do podcast. Hen. Meet Jesse Starcher, Andres the Pop Culture Guy, my co-host Cyberneticshark up top, and of course you guys have met me. I'm Jeff. Welcome to the Bleeding Edge, and since you're coming on late, I'll just let you know what I was asking the rest of the guys was just basically where you're at with the show right now through 3 episodes, and then connecting it to the Netflix stuff. Where are you at with that? Are you seeing the connectivity?
Yes, definitely. I think with the, like I remember with the, with the baseline of the original, the Netflix shows and stuff. Like, you know how like this season started, and like it's all 3 of them. They have their practice and stuff that they're doing. They're going back to their same club. It felt like we were trying to like really get those vibes where it's just like, hey, everything's the same, everything's feeling good and stuff. And they immediately just like changed everything, like killed Foggy and stuff like that. It was it was like kind of saying it was like a recognition, I guess how I was thinking of it. It's like his recognition is like, hey, we're recognizing that's how everything used to be, like the status quo, but now we're just gonna break everything and do something different. But then, as far as the show though, it was like how they're changing things and stuff like that. I'm really enjoying. Oh, I forgot my nail on sign. There you go. Okay. As far as the show is going and stuff, it's like what 3rd episode now and stuff, and just like earlier and stuff, like how you were saying, it does feel like a slow build up, and it's nice to see this little court case and stuff going on. And just like different little things, even like even how like Matt has his new glasses, and I think that's supposed to be like, hey, things are different now and stuff, but like very same. It's just like I guess it's more like a level up kind of thing.
Okay, most definitely. So okay, you guys are gonna have to work with me on my outline for the episode. They don't have Wikipedia, unfortunately, does not have the episodes up with their usual, episode synopsises, so I had to freehand my outline based off watching the episode. So I'll do my best. If I miss anything, I'm going to rely on y'all to just fill in the gaps for me. But I just want to point out that that BB that does the BB's Corner interviews or whatever, the BB on the street type shit or whatever, is BB Ulrich. So that's that's Ben Ulrich or whatever's niece or whatever. I wanted to point that out right off the bat. So episode 3. Of Daredevil Born Again, The Hollow of His Hand, which is directed by Michael Siesta, who did episode 2 as well, and it was written by Jill Blankenship. Starts off basically with Kingpin and his wife in, I guess, what's like the mayoral residence or whatever in New York City, right? Like the mayoral mansion or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're basically like having breakfast or whatever, and like basically sort of like talking shop a little bit, in terms of the criminal side of like the Fisk Empire, right? And she sort of lets him know that there's some, I guess some bullshit going on, in one of their turfs or one of their areas or whatever. Basically, the Kingpin is kind of dismissing himself from all that, as we saw in episodes 1 and 2. He really kind of doesn't want to see his wife even really engaging in these sort of activities in a way, So his attitude towards the whole thing is sort of just to, turn a blind eye to it. But you can kind of get a feel that the Kingpin's wife is sort of getting a little bit impatient with this whole mayoral deal, like, in terms of what he's trying to really do with it, like what his goals are or whatever. That's the vibe I get from her. She's a little bit impatient with the mayor shit. But so we see that, Matt and his PI guy, Cherry, have that witness, from the White Tiger fight at the end of episode 2, basically, holed up in a safe house, right? And they're feeding him drugs and shit, even on a Disney Plus show. We saw drugs in the episode. And because, this guy's like, I guess he's like a drug addict or whatever, right? So they got to give him some drugs. And so some pretty dirty, grimy, type Marvel television going on. Basically, before we head into our first, scene of the trial of the episode, the White Tiger trial, Officer Powell from the fight from episode 2, where Daredevil beat those 2 dirty cops' asses after they fucked him up pretty good first, intimidates Matt in the bathroom, before trial, kind of talk shit to him. And then, we get, basically, our first, I guess, set of scenes with, with them actually in trial, which is sort of the main storyline of the episode, right? We kind of get a check-in with, where the status is, with the trial, where the progress is at, for Hector, White Tiger, who's basically facing, like massive murder charges and all that stuff from, that whole, deal he, mix up he got into at the end of episode 2. I'll stop there and I'll go to you first, Jesse. What are your thoughts on the opening of episode 3? I know it's kind of dull, but what are your thoughts on it?
Well, we've got to where we picked up from. So I was right where we ended the second episode. Matt, snaps in that fight. I shouldn't say that. He defends himself, but my goodness, you could tell that he was like, okay, you do not want to mess with me. And at the end of that fight, he's he's almost like a man possessed. He's screaming. So I'm like, okay, how are we going to open this? How are we going to bring this forward in the next episode? I mean, are the cops going to be after Matt now? Because he just laid out 2 officers. Granted, they were doing something bad, but I wouldn't put it beyond them to like go back I didn't know they survived. Like Powell took a header right onto the floor. And I was like, that dude, I don't know if he's getting up. The other guy's got a pretty messed up, his arm was broke or something. So yeah, to see Powell confront him in the bathroom, I was kind of like, oh, okay. All right. So he's going to address it right now. And I wondered what was going to go down, and they kind of, Powell gets his words in, and it's all going to happen out in the courtroom, which was kind of,
I didn't mention it. We get Powell out there on the stand, essentially, right? That's what we get, and that, we all know what happens there,
Yeah. My notes as far as the Kingpin and Vanessa, Vincent D'Onofrio, man, just watching him eat as the Kingpin makes you go, this guy is just so slow and methodical, and he takes these tiny little bites, but he eviscerates, anything that gets in his way. He's just this mountain of a man, but just watching him sit at the dinner table was just so surreal. And my wife even said, my gosh, it'd probably take this guy an hour to eat a small little plate the way that he eats, but hey, he looks like he lost some weight, so great. And yeah, Vanessa's trying to balance this whole thing where the Kingpin's the mayor. Fisk does not want to be involved. He doesn't want the people to know that he's involved. So he's trying to keep his wife out of the spotlight. Meanwhile, she is trying to run the business. And it sounds like she was the one. We get that scene where I think it's the opening scene where a truck gets jacked. And
I didn't mention that truck jacking. That was actually a pretty interesting scene.
Yeah, we have the underworld's kind of eating itself right now because Vanessa is, I don't know, she's either stepping away or whatever. And Fisk even tells her, like, let them kill each other. Let the rats be rats. And Vanessa later she steps in anyway to try and control things. But here we have two underworld families who are fighting each other, and we get the idea that Fisk would just rather not deal with it, and Vanessa is the one that is. I think that's about all I have as far as notes go. I mean, I didn't get a chance to mention White Tiger, finding out about White Tiger in the first or the second episode, which I thought was really cool. I loved how we're bringing that character into this universe, and I love the actor. What was his name again, Jeff? What was the actor's name? You mentioned
his name is Camar de los Reyes.
I mean, I don't know if I've seen him in anything else, but he was doing fantastic here. So
no, and I didn't mention it, but they had a really good scene with him opening up the episode too, where it was just him talking about the frogs or whatever, and that place that he really likes or whatever. That was cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm hooked for the episode there. It did its job.
Okay, all right. Andre's pop culture guy, sir.
So I think this was a good way to start the episode. Picking up where we left off. I was kind of shocked that the guy, as I think Jesse brought up before, the cop officer Powell, right? Like he survived for the last episode.
You're right.
It took me a second to think. I was like, hey, who is this police officer? And then it's the guy from the previous episode. I was like, what the hell? Wait, I appreciate that, Matt is not going to take it, like, he's not going to take a blackmail that easy. He has been blackmailed so many times by crooked cops and, officials and of course, Kingpin himself as well in the Netflix show, right? And so this is not his first time, dealing with this kind of crap. So I really appreciate that he knows what he's doing here, and and no one's not gonna believe him. It's just like the Daredevil movie from Ben Affleck. It's like, oh yeah, people will believe you that a blind man beat you. Like out of all the secret identities, this is the one that people was like, hell no. Despite we're in a shared universe, but it's like I don't know if they can go that far. So yeah, he's covered. But yeah, I really like this. White Tiger, the actor, Reyes. It's really sad that he's no longer with us. I think this was such a great introduction to a new superhero. One of the things I don't like about this phase 4 and 5 is just how many characters we have seen. We never get to know them personally, and I think this is the best we have so far in terms of introducing a new superhero that we haven't heard of. And I like how we kind of grounded it and like understand why he's doing this. And I thought he was the highlight of this episode. I really like his conversation with Matt during that cell. He asked, like, have you eaten yet? And he said no. And it's like really sad. I think he really holds his own against Matt. And then of course the whole Vanessa Kingpin thing. I like it. I think I know what they're trying to do here. Like, I think Kingpin is trying, like, because you see how he's trying to save the city as usual, like from the Netflix show. I think he's generally wants to like redeem himself, but where Vanessa is now really in the dark side here. She really is trying to like keep this crime business empire that Fix has created, all these years, try to keep it, organized and operate. But because now he's the mayor, it's like, okay, you have to pick a lane here. Like, you cannot do one of both, And then Vanessa is trying to lead the crime thing, but then because of last week, the campaign manager is telling Fix to like get Vanessa stand by her to like improve, the image of him, and all that, and Vanessa doesn't like that. especially with this therapy thing. Excuse me. And so you're seeing that like wrench, like this divide here. This is definitely unexpected. I never thought that seeing the relationship of Wilson and Vanessa's relationship be divided, because you know back in the show, you know, the Netflix show, they were like so in like lovey-dovey and like, you know, and they were like very much like, especially season 3. If you haven't seen that, you know that you know, she really like was becoming like him, you know, being a criminal. So this is a very interesting direction they're taking with this like couple. Like I could definitely see her, you know, like the line where she say, "Look," or like when Wilson was they were in the therapy. I like the line they say, "Don't make me distrust you," and that's
we're not that far into the episode, sir.
Sorry about that, but quickly, I thought, you know, that example is showing that this is this relationship is dividing really quickly. And the truck thing, I mean, again, the truck thing is just showing that, you know, with the absence of the Kingpin, everything's gonna go crazy without a leader. So, you know, that's the unfortunate thing, Wilson taking over the mayor stuff. So overall, I like the beginning. It just gets into the mood of what kind of episode we're getting. We're getting a courtroom, which is good. I like the BB performance in the beginning. That was really cool. I like how realistic it is in terms of like interviewing people. Like they feel like real people in New York. So I really appreciate that. So that's my thoughts in the beginning.
Yeah, I like the aspect of the BB interviews too. What do you think, Head? What are your thoughts on that opening, section of the episode?
The opening section. My apology. What was going on in the opening again?
You know, basically we just had like the opening where it was Kingpin and Vanessa like having breakfast or whatever, you know, and talking about, you know, the criminal activities and all that, you know. And then there was them showing the witness being held in the safe house, you know, by Sherry, you know, the PI and all that, you know, and we saw Matt before trial being intimidated by Cherry, the dirty cop from episode 2. You know, and then we actually got our first trial scene, and that's where we stopped.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, it's like with the whole thing with the like I was saying before, it's so funny to see Kingpin and Vanessa having like marital problems and stuff like that. It makes you think it's just like what happened all this time, and like what happened from like the end of season 3 of Daredevil to like now, because it's like obviously like it seemed like he was gonna go to jail, but like now he has like a clean slate. That also like says is like who knows about like the multiverse and like how things change and stuff like that between the timelines. So it just makes you think it's like what happened between that. But seeing them so tense and like so like in trouble with their like relationship, because it sounded like they were pretty much already on the breaking up and stuff. And then seeing the court case again it's so funny because it's like it feels so serious, the court case happening and stuff like that, because it's like, you know how like they always make you feel like it's a real court case, but then now they're throwing elements into it about like the superheroisms and stuff like that, like with the whole he took out his mask and stuff, he was like, hey, he's the White Tiger. And then he talks about his amulet as well. Then he has like statements and stuff, and just like that makes it so like like in a way, it's like something that's so wouldn't happen like in real life, like realistically. But then they're throwing it into it and playing it off like as if it is real. It's like interesting take. It kind of reminds me like with like She-Hulk and stuff like that, where they're like battling over like dumb kind of things. And with that show, of course, it was like comedic and stuff like that. And this is like it just puts it like the most serious things. Like, no, this is not a joke kind of thing. The whole thing with the I think it was Nikki Torres was the informant and stuff. I thought that was like it was such a letdown whenever he just immediately folded under like no pressure. And like I know that he saw like the cops and stuff like that, but it was just so like immediate.
I didn't go that far. I'm saving it for next round.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, well, even like whenever they're like, or like the area where they go to the safe house and stuff, they give them some drugs and all that. That's as far as we're getting.
Yeah, that we to the drug part and to the trial part. You know, where the Cherry guy is on the stand. You know,
it's not Cherry.
Right
Cherry's his assistant.
It's Powell.
Oh, not Cherry, Powell. I'm sorry. Where Powell's on the stand. and Matt's like questioning him and all that. That's in there
Yeah.
too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, and the one thing I was thinking about, because he was like a veteran cop and stuff, and then he mentioned that his kids are like already grown up and stuff like that. I was like, the actor doesn't look that old to where he's like empty nester and stuff. I was like, he doesn't look that old to me. I was like, maybe like 10 years on the force and stuff, but like to be out there,
Mhm.
But then like of course it's just him lying and stuff, and it just makes you think just like how far does it all go? And like you saw the guy with the Punisher tattoo. And I know we're not there yet, but at the end, when there's another the the fake Punisher, that's when I'm thinking it's a fake Punisher and stuff at the very end. But it looks like there's a whole little gang inside the police force with all the Punishers and stuff like that. And that just seems like something that they'd like teasing off for the time being. I'm excited to see where that's gonna end up being, because it feels like it's gonna be something pretty interesting and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, most definitely. Cyber.
So the beginning of the episode is, I think, pretty decent. I like where it comes from. The end of the last episode, leading into kind of this whole Wilson Fisk and his, wife type of deal, him and all that kind of stuff. The fact that he's so irate about, White Tiger getting off. Eventually, there. Oh, I've gone way too far. That strike that reverse. Anyways. I think that how D'Onofrio plays it off here. Once again, he has been perfect as Kingpin from the get-go, from the first episode of Daredevil, the original series, to this. I mean, I always foresee him as Kingpin. He just, to me, is Kingpin. Versus unfortunately, Michael Clark Duncan's, try at it in the Daredevil film. He definitely has portrayed it so much better, I feel. Not only has he portrayed it well, but I just love the little nuances he puts into it for his own little thing, because I think D'Onofrio has always been a fantastic actor. I mean, from his portrayal in Men in Black to his portrayal in The Cell, he has always played really great characters, and this is right down his court. He's so damn good at playing this character. And just like, Jesse mentioned how he eats his food and it's like little bites and everything. He's very methodical.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly how I feel the Kingpin would be if he was a real person. And D'Onofrio does that so well. So this beginning portion, is really solid. Give you kind of a little insight into his thought processing, after, in going into the trial, his thought process of kind of, like where he's at that moment, along with, his wife and everything. And then, of course, we have that kind of brief, showing Matt after he has just gotten back from that scuffle he had at the end of the last episode. And we get to see his, kind of bloody knuckles and everything. And that cop shows up in there and is basically kind of like trying to force him to drop, kind of like mess with him and stuff like that. You're just kind of like, dude, this guy is just a douche. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, you did something wrong. You're a bad illegal cop. Get your justice, sir. This guy is innocent, type of deal. And just, you can see it, after, Matt just had, having this conversation he just did, and then him having this conversation in the bathroom, he's kind of, you're like thinking to yourself, like, he is already on fire from what just happened. Who knows what would have happened if he hadn't composed himself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a really solid opening that leads into a very fantastic episode.
Okay, most definitely. It is. Episode 3 is unfortunately just one of those episodes that you're going to have throughout the span of one of these series. Where you're going to have these sort of no matter what, non-action kind of episodes where it is really sort of all dialogue driven. And that's plot driven. And that they're always there. Unfortunately, you come across them. Like Cyber said, I'm sure that they probably will really ramp up the action as the series progresses, and Matt starts being Daredevil again. That makes common sense. At the end of the day, having that, like that equilibrium, like Jesse said, that balance of having that action and the drama together is what makes, for good Daredevil, right? But unfortunately, there's really no action in episode 3. So, okay. So where we end up at is where Hen was talking about, where essentially Cherry gets the witness to the court after they slip by the dirty cops and Powell and everything, right? But unfortunately, during his testimony, the witness goes rogue and denies everything, and basically fucks Matt and his squad, right? So that leaves, Matt and, and his team kind of in a bad spot with the case, right? Essentially, we see Vanessa's guy, new sort of main, guy go and settle that whole beef with like the gangsters over there, right? In Red Hook or whatever, and pay them off or whatever, to square the shit or whatever, the beef over there. And that was interesting. We, that Vanessa sent that guy over there. But you don't really know initially kind of who's, did Kingpin send that guy? Did Vanessa send that guy? You don't really know for sure. You kind of have to guess a little bit. We see Matt and like his partner and everything, and Cherry discussing the case, and they realize that they have to put Hector White Tiger on the stand. That's the only move they have in the trial. We see Kingpin, with another really good scene with him and Vanessa, where he discovers the moves that she's making, kind of behind his back to try to straighten out that beef, in Red Hook or whatever. And then we hear Kingpin, again enforcing that, he kind of wants to let the chaos just go. You know what I mean? Just blaze up, and sort itself out like that. So, and at the same time, they're in therapy, which was mentioned earlier already. They're in one of their therapy sessions, So, we see Daredevil's girlfriend there for a minute briefly, basically, like I said, they realize at this point that, Hector Ayala has to be on the stand, to win the case, right? And I'll stop there. There's a BB interview in there too. So I'll stop there and I'll go back to you, Cyber. What do you think about what transpires during that section of the episode, going up to right before they actually put White Tiger on the stand?
All right. I was chewing something. I had to swallow. Anyways,
I apologize, sir. I should have been tuned into your eating.
Yeah. Anyways, so I mean, pretty much, this section we get kind of quite a bit of interesting kind of courtroom drama. This is where we have the surprise witness that they bring in, and we have that great kind of like thing going on where they're taking the guy to the court so that he can testify and stuff like that. He's like a informant. We have the cop friend helping out and stuff like that. We have, of course, that corrupt cop that ends up going and getting the cop guy, and of course they did like a charade where one was taken one way and the other people went in a cab type of deal, which was really cool. Of course, the section where the cop is on the stand and he's trying to act like he's all innocent and stuff like that cracks you up, and you can just tell that there's definitely something that's not right about this guy as he's answering these questions, stuff like that. And so we have that going on. Like you mentioned, we briefly see the girlfriend of Daredevil in the audience. We have kind of like the tension going on, so that is he gonna show up and all that kind of stuff, which was interesting. And then, of course, they get him there, and then he basically bails on them, which really sucks. You're just like, oh, come on, bro. Why are you doing that? That's stupid, And we just brought you here and did all this protection and stuff like that just for you to not, say something. It was just kind of like, that sucks. And of course, they decide they have to put, White Tiger on the stand and everything, which it was, pretty obvious from the get-go that they were going to have to do that anyways. And I mean, what better way to kind of clear yourself than to tell your, story in your own words type of deal. And so, during this portion, we also have, of course, the couples therapy with Kingpin and his wife, which was, I thought funny and kind of at the same time, like, where is this going to lead to? Like, definitely we're going to see something happen here in the future, I feel, that has to do with them and stuff like that. Is she going to, like, try to take over or something? Or is she going to, what's going to go on? So that's going to be interesting to see as that progresses. And then, of course, like you were mentioning, Jeff, the BB episode thingy, which cracks me up. Every time those things pop up, I'm just like, this is so stupid. Like, this is so freaking stupid. But at the same time, just kind of like, okay, yeah, I get you trying to be a little original. I get it, okay. But it's just kind of like, okay. It adds to the episode. I get it. Other than that, I think that this section's really good. I think I absolutely love the courtroom drama going on here. I think it's really fun, really fantastic. Makes me think of like films like Runaway Jury. Makes me think of films like Murder in the First and stuff like that. So I think it has that great kind of courtroom vibe. It feels a little better than Law and Order. But overall, I think this is a decent section.
Okay. Andres.
Yeah. So I think this is where the episode really picked up for me. I mean, getting, a good court, order thing is really great and dramatic. Have you seen, like The Firm or, the Few Good Men or any court films or My Cousin Vinny, stuff like that is so fun and so dramatic sometimes. And it's just joy to watch. And it's no different here. Just seeing Matt trying to like help, the White Tiger to be innocent and all that. Seeing the cops telling their stories, like was it Officer Powell, telling his side was kind of funny. And it's like, come on, dude, you're such a shady person. I was like, come on. And it was funny that, seeing Matt using his powers to hear like or not he's telling the truth was funny. A good detail there. I appreciate they still remembering, like he always checks on the everyone, if either or not they're telling they're telling the truth, you can hear the heart rate and stuff like that. And getting to the therapy, which I misspoke earlier. I love that scene. The fact that Kingpin say that, look, don't make me mistrust you, which is really bad. Seeing Vanessa going to the part where almost pushing Kingpin to his darkest moments is not good. And we've seen that a lot. So that's going to be very interesting to see if either or not they will like pair the relationship or not. And I'm kind of curious to see what's stained. I get he's been out because of the events we've seen from the MCU, but it's like was he blipped in the blip, or what happened? I'm just quite fascinating. Hopefully we get a flashback or something like that to understand this like strained relationship. I thought that scene was like the highlight there, and of course, we got the typical things like the witness gonna stand and trial the Torres, because you think that the shady cops got to them, and then of course they trick you by with the camera, moving. I was like, oh no, he's there, by the camera and whatnot, and. Yeah, I was so shocked that he didn't tell the truth, but it made sense. I mean, he was kind of scared for his life. I mean, like you see a bunch of those, like police officers in the the courtroom,
Right.
and I understand what he was, like you don't know, one of them are the corrupt, comp that will like take down him, so like you can't blame him, and I didn't understand why the McDuffie character like was kind of questioning. It's like, come on, you guys were there. You know that there were police officers. Like, you should have like told him before to the stand that look at me. don't look at the police officers. Like I seen that in television courtrooms before. Like they always tell their witness or their client, look, annoy them because I know they're gonna intimidate you, but look at me because I'm the one asking the questions, And so I thought that was like such a television 101 like frustration. I'm like, oh my god, whatever. Yeah, and then of course, I guess is he the new Wesley, the man that's like the right hand man for Kim? I guess he's the new Wesley. So this new Wesley, if anyone knows, that's the former assistant from first season who got killed by Karen. If you haven't seen season 1, so this new Wesley comes to talk to these mom people. They're in the Red Hook. It's obvious that was Vanessa that sent her because we got the confirmation during the therapy that he sent the new Wesley to bargain this new 1.8 million, and this tells me that she will probably become the new Kingpin if Wilson doesn't do anything to go back to crime, because that is so interesting, the fact that she went over her back on Fisk to do this, because remember in the beginning we just discussed he said let the rats kill themselves or eat themselves, and that's reasonable, but Vanessa is trying to make this work with the operation, because why you want to bring more bloodshed, because you're losing money and all that. So it was a really cool, interesting scene. Like the fact how he phrased it was interesting. Like, no, I'm not talking about the mayor. I'm talking about the man. That was very telling. That was Vanessa, not Kingpin. So that was really cool. I just let me look at my notes here. But yeah, I thought this section was very engaging. One thing I do want from this show that I loved about the first 3 seasons was character development for our main supporting characters, because obviously you haven't seen the first 2 episodes. We don't have Karen and Foggy anymore, and I kind of wish we had more development with Cherry and Christine McDuff. We need more development with these characters, and hopefully we get it. If not, we get it another season. I get that, but that's all I have to say right now with this section.
That's a good point, Andres. Good point. Jesse Starcher, what are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, these guys covered a good bit of what I had in my notes. I think the one thing that I want to point out here, which you guys probably mentioned in the first 2 episodes for sure, and I might have even been mentioned here tonight, but we get another shot of those cops. When one of them turns their head, we see on the neck the Punisher symbol.
Yeah, the tattoo.
Right. So there is some stuff going on, and you're just like, okay, what? When I first saw it in the first 2 episodes, I was like, are we going to be that on the nose about this? Is that what we're going to do? And of course, I think that's going to be a big. It's clearly leading up to something here. The best moment for me of the whole episode was the outing of White Tiger. When he pulls the mask out. Me personally, I wasn't completely expecting it, because first off, Matt Murdock is Daredevil, and I think that the last thing that he wants is his identity to be known, and he knows the danger. I mean, we just watched in the first episode his best friend get killed because he was associated with them. So yeah, watching him do that to him, I was like, you're doing the exact same thing you do not want done to yourself. Granted, the idea is to free this man. Will it work? Well, we'll find out in this next section. But yeah, that one took me by surprise, and I love how pissed off the judge was, because this information came out in the last episode, right?
Yeah,
but that didn't come out to everybody. What they weren't going to use it in court or something like that. And then Matt's like, "Let's use it in court." He doesn't say anything to the judge. The judge is pissed. But yeah, there you go. That's my 2 takeaways from this. I really dug the fact that we had a big twist where he did this, and I was wondering what the impact was going to be and if it would work, and how they would work it in there. And then number 2, of course, more allusions to the skull. So there you go.
All right, Jesse went ahead and went into the reveal that he already explained. Basically, you guys already heard that. We already know what happened anyway. We all watched the episode where Matt, reveals the secret identity of White Tiger on the stand. So Jesse already went into that. So I'll just start there for the next section of the episode. Does piss off the judge with that move. Who had thrown out the White Tiger deal in the case. The DA was pissed too and told him he was basically like going to be getting fucked with at work, like, on every case, like for now on or whatever,
Oh yeah.
There's another BB interview, right, with some guy, and then, you get Hector and Matt in Hector's cell, and Matt telling Hector he can't be White Tiger anymore, but Hector's like, nah, bro, I am the White Tiger. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've got to be the White Tiger. Like, that's all I can. That's all I can do. So back to trial. Witnesses talk about how White Tiger saved their lives. Cops make reports about how White Tiger helped them make arrests and shit and everything. You know what I'm saying? And Hector says it's the right thing to do. When Matt asks him. And so Matt says he is a hero to the jury. The DA tells the jury what happens to a person that gets hit by a train, says cops don't need masks. They're the real heroes. Matt sits in an empty courtroom with that thing that Foggy gave him. Back to trial. Jury finds Hector not guilty. Team Matt wins. Hector gets free. Kingpin sees the verdict on the news, gets pissed off, and asks that one dude that he likes, that lackey or whatever, to go get BB. He wants to talk to BB, for BB on the street or whatever. We see Matt and his girlfriend have a scene where they're drinking an old bottle of whiskey or some shit that was from Foggy and Matt back in the day. And then we see Kingpin greeting BB and talking to BB while at the same time White Tiger suits up, goes out to fight crime and shit, and then gets popped by one of the Punisher cops. You know what I'm saying? Right in the head. And gets killed. While under overlaid on top of it, you got Kingpin still talking to BB about how mass vigilantes are a major problem in the city and they need to go away and all that. So he's trying to sway BB, and that's how the episode ends. There isn't an end credits where it has to do with the frogs or whatever that Hector was talking about in that one scene with Matt in the cell in the beginning of the episode. But that's the end of the episode. It's a very short, compact kind of episode. Jesse, I'll let you go first since you went last time. What do you think about all that that kind of third of the episode there?
Man, oh man! All right, so I wrote down here, I was really concerned. I didn't know how it was going to play out, that he outed White Tiger there in the courtroom, and then we get the testimony from not only citizens, but there's police officers that are testifying at why White Tiger was, so instrumental in saving their lives. And it was a great defense. I mean, it was a really great defense. And then they ended it with the closing arguments for the prosecutor. And boy, oh boy, that description of somebody getting hit by a train, it was, that probably rattled some jurors. But of course, like you said, we make it through. He gets found not guilty. Fantastic. Great. So I think that whole thing was a brilliant move on Matt's part. Wilson Fisk, Mayor Fisk, talking to BB, calling this a miscarriage of justice. This is a miscarriage of justice. This man was a cop killer. He's mobilizing the public against vigilantes here. And that's what is going to end. I think that's probably something that we're going to see in the upcoming episodes, are the public is going to be kind of like the watchdogs for this. And that's sort of what I was expecting when we got towards the end of this, as of course, like you said, Jeff, White Tiger, Hector is he's got to put that costume on. He's got to wear that amulet. He's got to go be a hero. because that's the man he is. And he goes out and does it. He's a free man. I don't know how many nights pass, probably not even one, before he puts the mask back on. He's back out there. And I thought that we were going to see a situation, because I think at this time Fisk is talking over as he's putting the mask on. I thought he was going to get lured in by, just some citizens who were going to beat the crap out of him or something, and he wouldn't know what to do. But no, that is not the case. Dude's just taking a stroll. And I gotta say that we only had 2 episodes with White Tiger. I was wanting a little bit more from this character. And for him just to get taken out like a little bitch, I'm just going to say that. He was walking and a dude came up and just shot him right in the head, and supposedly I don't know what his power set is. So maybe, anybody can get taken by surprise. And I understand we're setting up for some crazy stuff.
Supposedly when he has that the amulet on, like he has like some kind of,
superhero powers,
abilities or whatever.
Right. So I felt like that was really, I guess it's meant to take you by surprise, which it did. I mean, the guy just got walked up on and shot in the head and he's dead. And then, yes, as soon as I saw the skull on the chest, I was screaming, oh, shit. Now, this was before I got on and did my research. And, of course, talking with you guys, I understand what the sentiment, I understand what thoughts are for what's going to be happening in the season. But there was a sliver of me that thought that Frank Castle might have possibly thought that this man was a cop killer and decided to go and do it himself. But I don't know I don't think that's the case. I think what we're getting ready to set up is going to be, it's going to be a lot different than that. So there you go. That's my final thoughts. Thank you for letting me go first. I probably covered just about everything again, but feel free. I'm stepping back.
All right, sir. Most definitely. All right, Cyber. Your thoughts, sir.
All right. So, I mean, pretty much, like I was saying, the whole episode is a giant lawyer episode. And so I absolutely love when he finally gets on the stand and tells his story. They, basically, he outs, Daredevil outs him as the White Tiger. And you're just kind of like, dude, that was a bad idea. But at the same time, you're like, well, he's got to do this in order to help save this case. And of course I get that. But at the same time, it's kind of like, everyone's going to know I'm White Tiger. Oh, great. And so, that scene they have briefly in the the jail. And he's like, that wasn't your story to tell. That wasn't your secret to tell. It was just kind of like, well, this is the cards I was dealt with, man. I went with the cards I was dealt with to help you out, sir. And it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, I understand now. I understand. And so that was great. But yeah, that, them basically having him on the stand, asking him questions, and then the other, lawyer asking him questions and crap. And that guy that plays that lawyer, he's been in a slew of things over the years. He always plays a dickhead, and he plays it perfectly in this as usual.
Good.
And, and just how he kind of ends it, it was just kind of cracked me up. I'm like, dude, like you are so like grasping at straws to try to win this case because you've lost it after he got on the stand.
Oh yeah,
and it's it's not gonna win. And so when they all come back and he's not guilty on all charges, it's like woohoo, yeah, that's great, it's awesome, and he's free to go and everything. The little courtroom. When he first does the White Tiger thing and the judge asked both of them to see him in his chambers, that scene was interesting and just really great. And like totally like something I would see like in a lawyer movie or something. Kind of like what they did in Primal Fear when they have to go in and talk to her after, the whole insanity thing changed and everything. So, and it totally made me think of that a little bit. But that was just great. And, just like, Jesse said, him putting back on the costume, then going out and getting shot like a little bitch. It was like, what the fuck? Like, seriously? Like, seriously, you have a win and then just kill him off. I'm like,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, well, now you can say that, that actor is dead in the universe, which is good because he unfortunately passed away in real life from cancer back in December of 2023, actually.
Yeah.
So it's been, almost, a year and a half since he, almost a year and a half since he died.
Wow.
And they filmed this back in like 2022. So, so this is, that footage has been there for, 3 years now. So it's kind of like, it's like, I'm glad he got his justice, but you could tell he did not look healthy in these episodes. You could tell he was not physically really in great shape. So I think that it was, great that they, he got his role going because he was a great actor. But at the same time, it's kind of like him being killed off there was kind of a good thing. And that might have been one of the changes they did when they did the reshoots.
Right.
Maybe they, I don't know if they had it planned the whole time that he got killed, but maybe they had somebody else put on the costume and shoot him to see, like, have it because they, he died in real life. Maybe that was something they ended up doing. I'm not sure, but I think that's, that was, after all, I think even though it sucks, it still is great because that allows for somebody else to be a new White Tiger. Because we could have another White Tiger. He's not the only one that played White Tiger. So I think that's a possibility down the road. So, that whole thing, the Punisher logo and everything, these Punisher cops, I'm like, what the hell is going on with these Punisher cops? I'm like, I feel bad for the Punisher. His name is being used for, not what he wants to use it for. I'm kind of like, that kind of sucks. But I'm glad at least that the Punisher logo is the actual Punisher logo that we're seeing in this. It's not like that new one that they came up with last year. Right. Oh my God, it's the stupidest looking thing ever. So I was happy that it was still the original Punisher logo. And, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought overall it did a really great job. It gave us a courtroom drama episode to give us that lawyer aspect, like I said. And I think that, the little bit of action we did have in it, I think was satisfying. But overall, I think it was just a really fantastic episode.
I guess Jeff is silent.
Take over, Andres.
Yeah, I'll take over. I guess I can. I don't worry. Anyway,
I'm a pop culture guy.
Okay, we're here. I guess he's Iceman. Anyway. Anyway, so I thought this third section was really emotionally drop-dropping. Like, I felt like this is the Daredevil show that I remember. Like, Matt trying to convince everyone that he's an innocent man. I just love the fact that he made a mistrial for revealing the identity of the White Tiger. And so I cracked up so hard when the judge is like, you told me when you were in this room, in this chair, that we're not going to use that for evidence, part of the, conversation. And you just did. And you made a hooligan in the courtroom. It's like, I'm sorry. I was not, it was never my intention. It was so funny. And then I love how the defense lawyer over there, say now every freaking 100 lawyers are going to be at the ass now, which you just did, which I was so hilarious. And I recognize this guy. This guy is the douchebag politician from Transformers 2, The Adventure of Fallen. Yeah, that's why I recognize him. And just a little tidbit, this is not his first time being in a Netflix thing. He was in Daredevil. He was in Jessica Jones season 3 as a different character, as a lawyer. So very, very funny. This is doubly checking. But yeah, so I thought that was great. But man, it was so cool hearing everyone that he saved, telling their story. Look, this man risked his life to save me from a fiery, truck or car crash or being mugged. That was so crazy. And then I think some officers too vouched for him because he also saved them as well. That was really great and just really really helped to show how important White Tiger is as a hero in the Hell Kitchen, or in general the community in New York. And oh man, that was my favorite part about that episode. I never expected that they were going to go that far, and it did. And I think I really enjoyed that. And yeah, it was just really emotional. And then obviously, when they were getting their final, their final calls that they usually do, like, okay, here's my reason you should take him to prison. And then there's another one, and then Matt telling him, look, all the things he did, all the good he did, yes, he made a mistake, but that was not the intended. And I was surprised he was not guilty for all 3 charges. I was like so relieved. And it was like, oh my god, so lifted. And of course we get back to Wilson Fix, aka Kidpin himself, hating this. And then I knew there was something gonna happen. And of course he tells his new assistant to get BB back to do another interview. And then I'm happy they're not forgetting about his promise of trying to stand vigilante. So that, because he did that with his election, and he has to do that at some point. So the fact that this happens, this is going to be a push of why, because you're letting a cop killer, go and stuff like that. So that makes sense. And I think none of you guys brought up this the conversation of Matt and his girlfriend Heather when he got the victory. That's another highlight for this last part of the episode. It was really great seeing her again, more development hopefully for her character. I thought she has good chemistry with Charlie Cox here, and I really like his conversation about Foggy. I like that they're not forgetting about Foggy after 2 episodes. That's great. I just love how every small victory that him and Foggy had, they always pour a drink, for the the winning of their case and whatnot, and that was a really great touch, and I really dug that. And the fact that Heather brought this up, that's the first time he talked about Foggy, it's like, oh wow, this good, a good move maybe, or maybe he was gonna go back down to hell to rise up as the devil himself, for us to enjoy violence and superhero and all that. And then great scene. I really like it. It was great to see Heather. She wasn't in much of this episode, but it was good to remember that they're both dating and stuff like that. And then you get the final moments here of seeing Kidpin talking about what happened with the court and all that, and he's promised to do this superhero abolishment act similar to the Accords, and this Punisher thing, I didn't realize they were teasing us with the Punisher thing at all. This is a big surprise to me.
Really?
I need to go back and watch this again. And I don't know. It just reminds me. I know, spoilers for another show, another great superhero show, The Watchmen. With those, I mean, they're not cops, but these, kind of KK people wearing the Rorschach masks. This reminds me of that. Seeing the police people, wearing the Punisher thing makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's just a quick story. My dad was a tow trucker, and this is his phone. And the fact that he has the Punisher logo makes a lot of sense because, police does a lot of things, and, it's just a symbol of what the Punisher stands for. And you see it to be corrupt is really interesting. And I'm very excited to see where they're going to take it. And, see and where Frank is at, because spoilers for his show, he came out from season 2 to continue on his Punisher role, because in that show he in and out tried to retire just like John Wick, but the end he cannot retire as John Wick. He has to continue on. So I'm very curious where we're at with Frank in this post blip,
Right.
But I was shocked, as a lot of you guys, killing off White Tiger. I was like, whoa. I mean, again, the Netflix show always did this. They always do this left turn, twisted turn. I'm like, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect, Karen killed, the first Wesley. Of course, keeping killing the first Owl, the accountant for him because of what he did to Vanessa during that season. Stuff like that. They did a lot of twisted turns here, or Ben Urich's death. I was surprised.
Yeah.
He's a major character in Daredevil, and so I was shocked about that. And of course, you guys brought up the fortunate actor had cancer. I don't think they were kind of surprised about this. But at the same time, luckily for this character's mental has passed on, and there are other White Tigers, so it's not a big deal. I think they can bring this character up. I think they actually have a good like setup for this character to come back, because now I'm emotionally connected to this character. I want to see more of this in the future of MCU than like some other stuff that I'm like, I don't care. Like this I'm like, I do care, and like I want to see it back. So yeah, I thought this was the right step for the show. I felt more confident after this episode. I'm like, okay, I'm liking the show more. It's feeling more like the Daredevil show, because the first two episodes was a little rough because I heard that these two episodes were not supposed to be the premiere. It was supposed to be in the midpoint here, so they move it up. And it makes sense, because you want to get everyone back and get track of this universe. So I think this episode made me confident. Like, okay, we're really cooking up for something in these next 8 or 7 episodes we have so far. I hope he's not Iceman.
Okay, sorry guys, my Wi-Fi is being really fuzzy.
No worries, no worries.
Just one of those. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Anyways, so all right. Well, look, I wanted to ask you guys. All right, so basically, since that's basically the end of the episode, what I just wanted to ask you guys, and I'll start off with you again, Jesse, was just as a final question, kind of, where are you at with Daredevil? Like, who is Daredevil to you? You know what I mean? You come from a comics, background, Jesse. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's Daredevil as a character, mean to you? Now, especially now that we have, guaranteed 2 seasons of them doing his show again now, right, on Disney Plus, right? So,
right.
Where are you at? Where are you at with Daredevil?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to continue watching here for sure. As far as the character itself, I've always enjoyed reading when I could some Daredevil, depending on who was writing him. He wasn't a staple in my collecting days, that's for sure. I definitely was enjoying street level stories, but that was because I was picking up the Punisher, I was picking up Spider-Man, and Daredevil would obviously show up in those comics every once in a while, and some of the greater interactions, especially season 2 of Daredevil, where Frank shows up and they have the whole rooftop scene. That was something that happened in the comics, and when those two get together, just watching those two different philosophies be discussed. You have the murderous Frank Castle. He's definitely your anti-hero, and you have Matt Murdock, Daredevil, who is, he doesn't want to kill people. He wants to, he might injure them, but he wants to fight evil in a way that doesn't result in people dying. And that's what made that first episode so shocking. So, I'm all for it. I'm all for, because after I watched the episode today and going through, I think, Jeff, you shared something in the chat from IGN, if I remember correctly. I watched that video where they were discussing kind of what's going to be coming up with Frank Castle. And so I think they were even flashing some scenes there, I believe, either from this season, or maybe it's got to be, I feel like it's got to be like next episode or something, but it might, or it might be next season. I don't know. But Frank and Matt are going to mix it up here, and just watching Daredevil go through what he is going through in order to figure out if he is going to be a vigilante is the hook of this season. He's born again. We've sat through 3 episodes of watching him try to deal with the fact that, okay, I'm no longer going to be this is endangering people that I love, but something is going to tip the scale and bring him back into being Daredevil again. And just what is that going to be? So, yeah, I mean, as I'm enjoying this show. That's for sure. I'm not reading Daredevil currently. I've definitely read some stuff in the past. I think, I've done like 5 episodes of source material on some Daredevil stories. Born Again was definitely one of them. Guardian Devil. So I enjoy the stuff where I can. I'm all for it. I'm here for the rest of the, I'm definitely watching the rest of the season.
Okay. Andre's Pop Culture Show over there on your YouTube channel covering, Daredevil overall, Netflix and all that. But where are you at with Daredevil? Kind of what does Daredevil mean to you as a character, from a comic book standpoint, I guess?
Well, I'm not a big Daredevil. Well, I love the character. I'm not a big avid reader as well as the Daredevil comics. I already read the Born Again one. Hopefully I can get into the Mark Waid Daredevil one. That was really classic. This character has been part of my childhood. I relate to this character. I mean, the fact that this is one of those rare excessive superheroes has a disability, and that's something I can relate to. I mean, I have asthma, and I know this different for blind, but it's a character I relate to. The fact that he can use his disability as a power is kind of unique. Despite it's heightened, but it's very unique. And when I was growing up, before the whole MCU thing became a big thing, it was always X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. And every time, of course, I'm a DC guy, everyone had, we had Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Spider-Man was the Superman from Marvel, and then Daredevil was always the Batman from Marvel. And the first thing I exposed for him was, the Spider-Man 90s cartoon when he guest starred there. And I have a soft spot from the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, and it has this weak points as a 2000 film, but I think this character is so complex and like so rich. He's the most dark, grounded Marvel character we have so far, of any character in comics, and and that's one of the reasons I love the Netflix show, because it captures so much of the material, and I love that. That's one of the things I love about Daredevil is they're not afraid of the material, but at the same time they take it and make their own version of it in such a good way. And just I know just they did do Born Again in season 3, but loosely adapted. If you want to know, if everyone knows that, like, they did adapt Born Again, it's just they did it very differently because there were just things that they couldn't do, or like went in a different direction because it's just a different characters. Like Karen's different from the show and the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So they went differently from that. So. I don't know if you knew that, Jess.
Been a while since I've seen season 3.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah. Is that the one where there was a big hole in the bottom of a building, or am I getting that confused?
Season 2.
Season 2. Okay.
Yeah, because that was just setting up the Defenders and all that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this character. I'm so happy that we have him back in the MCU. Like, out of the Netflix shows, I was like, I want Charlie Cox to come back. He's just so perfect for that role. He's the definitive Daredevil, just like Kevin Conroy as Batman, or Christopher Reeve as Superman, whatever. He's the definitive version of Daredevil. So I'm sticking with the show. I think it's so far great. They're really capturing at least Daredevil. That for me is more important as a comic book fan.
Cyber.
Character to me, I mean, it's always been a character I've enjoyed seeing things. I never really read the comics, but I did. I did eventually see him in a few TV made for movies, and and the Incredible Hulk show from the 70s. And I just remember I was thinking that he was an interesting character. The fact that he was blind and could fight crime was a really cool thing. And so that always, intrigued me. And, I think it's a great character that's very interesting and has a lot of interesting, backgrounds and stuff like that, they, have included into the TV series and so forth and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that. And we have two Jeps.
One was bad enough.
I know. Anyways. And so, I think that overall the character in a nutshell for me is just a kind of an entertaining character that I enjoy watching the show. And so far, I've really enjoyed this new series, and I'm enjoying seeing Charlie Cox play the character again. So it's been great. And so far, I've really enjoyed this new series, and I'm enjoying seeing Charlie Cox play the character again. So overall, interesting character. So far, I've really enjoyed this new series, and
so nice you said it twice.
enjoying seeing Charlie Cox play the character again. Overall, interesting character. So far, I've really enjoyed this series, and
so nice you said it.
Okay. You like that echoing?
Yeah, it's great.
Very professional. Very professional. Sorry about that, Cyber. Technical difficulties. Had to switch over to the cell phone to close the show out because my Wi-Fi on my laptop is so bad. I had to jump on the cell phone. So we're gonna have to do manual plugs tonight, creators. I'm not gonna be able to pull up plugs through my phone, unfortunately. So I'm gonna throw to you guys and just give me your your vocal pitch on what's going on with everybody's channel, podcast, etc. And Jesse, since of course you're the guest of honor every time you come on. You start off, sir, and tell us about your the Source Material Comics podcast.
Yeah, first, thanks again, guys, for having me back on. I had a blast here. Got to talk Daredevil. I got to talk Punisher, which I don't know if I've ever talked Punisher with you guys before. It was just a little bit, but I got to talk a little bit about Punisher.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, it sounds like honestly, it's unfortunate that it's not happening in episode 3, but eventually Punisher's going to have a pretty big impact on the show, so
keep me in mind.
I'm looking forward to that.
Keep me in mind. Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you could check out the Source Material Comics podcast. You could probably just go over to YouTube and punch that in. We have over 300 and some episodes. Source Material is a comic book podcast where we discuss comic books of any era. Usually have a discussion with 2 or 3 or 4 people, and sometimes it's just me entertaining you. We talk about all sorts of comics. Like I said, I have a few Daredevil stories. We got The Man Without Fear. We got Born Again. We've got Guardian Devil. So if you are interested in that, you can probably go over to YouTube and find those. And I also do the Unspoken Issues podcast as part of that feed, where it's just focused on 90s comics. And then also, if you play Marvel Snap, I have a little podcast that I do about once a month, 4 episodes, about 20 minutes a piece, where me and my good buddy Evan get together and we discuss all the fun stuff that happens in the mobile card game Marvel Snap. So there you go. That's what I got. Thank you so much again, guys. Had a good time.
Jesse, 90s comics were basically the best comics as far as
I love hearing that. I love it.
That's what I was collecting, and that's what I was reading, was back in the 90s, right? So
right.
I'm all about those 90s comics. There were some really good comics coming out in the 90s,
That's right, buddy. That's right.
During the boom, there was a lot, a lot of titles coming out. It was interesting. It was an interesting time for Marvel Comics. They were making everything in triples. There was like 5 different Spider-Man titles coming out at one time.
Man, don't get me started on gimmick covers, them holograms and them chromium covers.
Yeah, they did all that. Yeah,
golden age of comics right there.
That's right. The annuals, do they still have annual issues?
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure that they do annuals every once in a while. Not as much as they did back in the 90s, because every title was, and the 80s, they were pretty, but the 90s, man, they were lousy with all sorts of gimmicks, all sorts of number 1s, my goodness. And I can't even count how many different like companies were out there. You got Marvel and DC, but my goodness, you could look at probably about another 10, 15, maybe even 20 other like comic book companies that were just trying to make some kind of a an effort to get into that market, and then they all kind of like went away towards the end of the 90s. So it was a really, really interesting time in comic books in that industry, and so much different than it is now.
Yeah, I used to read some Image and Dark Horse comics and stuff like
Lovely.
that, back then, you know what I mean? They were there. They were present when you would go to buy comics, right? So
right.
I would get my hands on them, and there was some good stuff there.
Yeah.
But all right, so Andre's Pop Culture Guy, sir, tell us about what's going on Andre's Pop Culture Guy channel presents without actual visual plugs.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll be doing Netflix, Netflix Daredevil stuff. So I've been doing that. I recently posted a very awesome season 3 fight montage of Daredevil. Check that out. I also recently I actually put it up here. I also did a Batwing montage of the 89 film. Check that out. I did 2 new shorts, mostly movie scenes from X-Men First Class and the 89 classic. Check them out. No live stream this week. There's going to be next week after that is going to be another movie review. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So just chugging along with my creativity right now with Daredevil.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Cyberneticshark, sir. Vocal plugs tonight.
So if you enjoy me here on the panel or as a moderator on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, you can check out my solo content. You can find me under Cyberneticshark on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, Patreon, all those good places. My main hub, of course, is YouTube. I most recently uploaded a new movie review on my YouTube of the film Love Hurts, which is Ke-Huy Kwan's newest film, brought to you from the guys that did Everything All the Way at Once, and also from the studio that brought Mr. Nobody. And I put up recently another review as well before that. If you haven't seen that one, check that one out too as well. Or my trailer reaction of Jurassic World Rebirth. I put up a couple new shorts for you guys too. One of a comedy film I just watched. Are you okay, baby?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Really bad cough. Smell back there.
That's okay, sir.
Anyways, if you haven't seen my shorts, I just put up one for a comedy film called Office Race, which was really funny. Definitely check that out. And if you haven't seen the other one I've done on there, which was for Mickey 17, definitely check that out too as well. I'll be having more stuff up for you guys soon, some more reviews, mostly reviews for you guys. So keep your eyes out for that and keep on subscribing to all of us here, and especially here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. And definitely go check out Jesse Archer's stuff. It's amazing. And definitely we appreciate you guys, and you guys are rocking it.
All right. So Daredevil Born Again episode 3 is in the bag. Thanks to Jesse Starcher for coming on once again. Andre's Pop Culture Guy, we love you. Cyber, got mad love for you, brother, my co-host. And we appreciate everybody out there that supports the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. Hopefully, if you enjoy the review in either digital or podcast form, whichever way, maybe you could do us a solid follow, maybe give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. We'd appreciate that. We are a podcast, not just a live stream show. So either way, folks, we wish you all the best. We will see you again on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge on Friday for Backdraft with Cyber moderating, and Matthew from Born to Watch on to guest with me and Cyber. So until then, we've got episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again next Wednesday. Andre's Pop Culture Guy will be moderating. We'll have new guests on. So Jesse, we'll try to get you back on for some more Daredevil towards the end of the series, hopefully. And we'll see everybody out later. Peace.